7.7.62. Once the Exalted One was dwelling in Ambapali's grove near Vesali. There the Exalted One addressed the monks, saying, "Monks." "Lord," they replied. And the Exalted One said, "Impermanent monks are conditioners, sankhara. Unstable monks are conditioners. Insecure monks are conditioners. So monks, be you dissatisfied with all things of this world. Be you repelled by them. Be you utterly free from them." Let's stop here for a moment. This word sankhara, here we translate as conditioners. Some other books, they translate as conditioned things. But the actual word for conditioned things is sankhata. So sankhara, we prefer to translate it as conditioners. Conditioners are those things that condition something else. But anything in the world, everything in the world are conditioners in the sense that they condition other things, but they are also conditioned things because they depend on other conditions. So conditioners are also in a way conditioned things. But the reason the Buddha, we feel, use it in the sense of conditioners is because in some other sutta, the Buddha said that all conditioners are impermanent. If everything that conditions, say for example, your body or your mind are impermanent, then if those things that condition you are impermanent, then all the more are you impermanent. Just like, for example, a shadow of a tree. A shadow of a tree depends on the tree, but the tree is impermanent. Therefore, the shadow must be even more impermanent. So that's a difference. Now the Buddha continued. Monks, Simmeru, king of mountains, is 84,000 leagues in length, 84,000 leagues in breadth, 84,000 leagues immersed in the great ocean. It stands out above the waters of the ocean, 84,000 leagues. Monks, there comes a time when for many years, for many hundreds of years, for many thousands of years, for many hundreds of thousands of years, there is no rain. And when the rains come not, all seed life and vegetation, all trees that yield medicine, palms and giants of the jungle become parched and dried up and are no more. Thus impermanent, thus unstable, thus insecure are all conditioners. Be you dissatisfied with them, be you repelled by them, be you utterly free from them. I'll just stop here for a moment. In some other sutta, the Buddha mentioned that life depends on water. In other words, life depends on rain. All life on our planet is sustained by rain. If there were no rain, then life forms slowly will disappear. So here is mentioned when there's no rain for thousands and thousands of years, then all the plants all die up. And when the plants die, other life that depends on the plants also will die. And this fact that the Buddha said, life depends on water. Now science begins to realize this. That's why when they send these satellites to other planets, they try to find out whether there's any water on the other planets, because now scientists they realize if there's any water at all in the other planets, that means there must have been life there. Now the Buddha continues, monks, there comes a time when in some age, at the end of some vast period, a second sun appears. When the second sun appears, all the streams and the ponds become parched and dried up and are no more. Thus impermanent, thus unstable, thus insecure are all conditioners. Be you utterly free from them. Monks, there comes a time when in some age, at the end of some vast period, a third sun appears. When the third sun appears, all the great rivers become parched and dried and dried up and are no more, that is to say, the Ganges, the Yamuna, the Achiravati, the Sarabu, and the Mahi. Thus impermanent, thus unstable, thus insecure are all conditioners. Be you utterly free from them. Monks, there comes a time when in some age, at the end of some vast period, a fourth sun appears. When the fourth sun appears, all the great lakes from where these great rivers flow become parched and dried up and are no more. That is to say, the Anotata, the Siha Papata, the Ratakara, the Kana Munda, the Kunala, the Chadanta, and the Mandakini. Thus impermanent, thus unstable, thus insecure are all conditioners. Be you utterly free from them. Monks, there comes a time when in some age, at the end of some vast period, a fifth sun appears. When the fifth sun appears, the waters of the mighty ocean recede 100 leagues. The waters recede 200 leagues, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 700 leagues. The waters of the mighty ocean remain at a depth of 7 palm trees, of 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, of merely 1 palm tree. The waters of the mighty ocean remain at a depth of 7 men's stature of height, of 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, of merely 1 man's height, of just half a man, of merely up to a man's hip, of merely up to his knee, of merely up to his ankle. Monks, just as in the autumn time when the rain deva sheds big drops of rain here and there, in the footprints of cows, there are puddles. Even so, monks, as mere puddles in a cow's footprints are the waters of the mighty ocean here and there. Thus impermanent, thus unstable, thus insecure are all conditioners. Be you utterly free from them. Monks, there comes a time when in some age, at the end of some vast period, a sixth sun appears. When the sixth sun appears, both this earth and Simaru, king of mountains, emit smoke, disgorge smoke, belch forth clouds of smoke. Monks, just as a potter's oven, when first lighted, emits smoke, disgorges smoke, belches forth clouds of smoke. Even so, monks, when the sixth sun appears, both this great earth and Simaru, king of mountains, emit smoke, disgorge smoke, and belch forth clouds of smoke. Thus impermanent, thus unstable, thus insecure are all conditioners. Be you utterly free from them. Monks, there comes a time when in some age, at the end of some vast period, a seventh sun appears. When the seventh sun appears, this great earth and Simaru, king of mountains, bursts into flames, blaze up and become a single sheet of flame. And the fiery beam of the blaze and the burn of the great earth and of Mount Sumeru, thrown up by the winds, reaches even to Brahma's world. The peaks of Mount Simaru, measuring 1, 2, 3, 4, and 500 leagues, as it blazes and burns, vanquished and overwhelmed by the vastness of the fiery mass, crumble away. Out of the blaze and the burn of the great earth and Mount Simaru, there is neither cinder nor ash to be found. Monks, just as out of blazing, burning ghee or oil, no cinder or ash is found, even so, monks, out of the blaze and burn of the great earth and Mount Simaru, neither cinder nor ash is to be found. Thus impermanent monks are conditioners, thus unstable monks are conditioners, thus insecure monks are conditioners. Wherefore, monks, be you dissatisfied with all things of this world, be you repelled by them, be you utterly free from them. I'll just stop here for a moment. You see, this sutta is very interesting. It describes very clearly how the world is going to be destroyed in the future. And this is the only sutta in the Nikayas which has this description, of how the world is going to be destroyed by fire. So when people talk about the end of the world, we don't have to worry because the second sun has not appeared. First, the rains must stop. The rains must stop for thousands and thousands of years. And then, when that happens, then slowly the trees start to die off. And then after a long time, a second sun appears. And when the second sun appears, the streams and the ponds dry up. And then after a long time, a third sun appears. And when the third sun appears, the big rivers, the Ganges, etc., all also will dry up. And then after a long time, a fourth sun appears. And when the fourth sun appears, the great lakes behind, even those behind the Himalayas, they will dry up. And then after a long time, a fifth sun appears. And when the fifth sun appears, the waters of the ocean begin to dry up until they become just puddles of water here and there. And then when the sixth sun appears, the earth starts to emit smoke. A lot of smoke starts to come out. And then when the seventh sun appears, the earth will start to burn, and burn up to the heavens, burn up to the Brahma's world. So this is very interesting, because other religions also talk about the fact that the world will be destroyed by fire, but they don't give such a clear description as the Buddha. Now the Buddha continued. Now where is the sage, where is the believer who thinks this great earth and Mount Simeru will be burnt up, will utterly perish and be no more, save or except among those who have seen the goal? In days gone by, monks, there was a teacher named Suneta, a coarse setter who was free from all lustful passions. Now he had many hundreds of disciples to whom he taught the doctrine of fellowship in Brahma's world. And all they who grasped the word taught by Suneta in its fullness on the breaking up of the body after death were reborn in the realm of bliss, the Brahma world. But of those who did not grasp the word in full, some after death were reborn into the fellowship of the Devas who have power over others' creations. Some among the Devas who delight in creating, some among the Tusita Devas, some among the Yama Devas, some among the Devas of the 33 or Tavatimsa heaven, some in the company of the 4 royal Devas, some among wealthy nobles, some among wealthy Brahmins, and some among wealthy householders. Now Suneta, the teacher, taught thus: it is not seemly that I should have precisely the same mode of existence as my disciples after death. What if I were to make metta or goodwill become to a perfect degree? And Suneta, the teacher, cultivated the thought of metta for 7 years, and then for 7 world cycles returned not to this world. He arose in the sphere of radiance, that means in the jhana planes, in Brahma's sphere, as Maha-Brahma, as Sakka Devaraja, as a wheel-turning king, endowed with the 7 gems. Yet monks, although Suneta lived so long and lasted such a time, he was not freed from birth, from aging, from dying, from sorrow, lamentation, pain, grief and despair. He was not freed from dukkha, I say. And what is the reason? It was by not being awake to, by not penetrating 4 conditions. What 4? Monks, it was by not being awake to, by not penetrating Aryan right conduct. It was by not being awake to, by not penetrating Aryan concentration. It was by not being awake to, by not penetrating Aryan wisdom. And it was by not being awake to, by not penetrating Aryan release. Monks, it is just this. When Aryan right conduct is awakened and penetrated, when Aryan concentration is awakened and penetrated, when Aryan wisdom is awakened and penetrated, and when Aryan release is awakened and penetrated, the craving for life is cut off, the cord that binds one to becoming is destroyed, and there is no more coming to be. That's the end of the sutta. So in this last part, the Buddha is talking about Suneta, a course setter. A course setter means one of those religious leaders who start a new sect. In Chinese, I think it's called Kai Tao Se, one who starts a new religion. And it's mentioned here that he was freed from all lustful passions. Freed from all lustful passions. Even though this man Suneta, he had not become an Arya. Yet the sutta says that he was freed from all lustful passions. And this shows that this man, because he cultivated the jhanas, he cultivated the Brahma viharas to attain rebirth in the Brahma world. So he had attained the jhanas. So just by attaining jhanas, one becomes freed of all lustful passions. That means the hindrances are abandoned. This is one of the suttas that confirms that when one attains the jhanas, the hindrances are abandoned. That means cut down. Although the roots are not pulled up, yet it's just like tall grass. You cut down the tall grass completely, even though the roots are not pulled up. Now the other thing mentioned here is that and all they who grasp the word taught by Suneta in its fullness on the breaking up of the body after death were reborn in the realm of bliss, the Brahma world. But of those who did not grasp the word in full, some after death were reborn into the fellowship of the Devas who have power over others' creation. Some among the Devas who delight in creating, some among the Tusita Devas, etc., etc., the lower Devas. So here it shows that grasping the word of the teacher is very important. Those who grasp the word of the teacher, then they get reborn into the higher state. So in the same way, the word of the Buddha is very important to us. It is very, very important to understand the Buddha's words very, very well. If you understand the suttas 100%, then you will get 100% of the result of the Buddha's teachings. If we don't understand the word of the Buddha, then we would get nothing out of being a Buddhist. So it is very important to listen to the discourses of the Buddha and understand them. So in the last part of the sutta, the Buddha said, it is by cultivating three things, Aryan right conduct, Aryan concentration, Aryan wisdom, and Aryan release, that a person ends the round of rebirths and destroys dukkha, suffering. Actually, the last part, Aryan release, is the result of attaining the first three. So it is the first three that's important. Sila, Samadhi and Panya. Moral conduct, concentration and wisdom. And these three things are also the Noble Eightfold Path or the Aryan Eightfold Path taught by the Buddha. So if we cultivate the Aryan Eightfold Path, or this Sila, Samadhi and Panya fully, then we attain full awakening, full liberation.